You're listening to Proppy Podcast Season 2, Episode 8. The Message in a Bottle Proppy Podcast series is brought to you by ProppyApp, a property all-in-one app where dreams come home. We're sending out messages of hope to inspire others to do the same, to make a difference in people's lives and to create change. Hi everybody, my name is Vivian Chong.
Hi, I'm Nicole Ng.
And I'm Harriet Koo. This is session 1, Almost Anything, is where we talk about almost anything.
Yes, so I think today what we're going to talk about is that, yay, Selangor, Kuala Lumpur and Putrajaya are finally progressing into phase 2 of the National Recovery Plan.
Yay! See them!
Finally, yes, we're seeing a little bit of light, yes. So other than Kedah and Johor, where Nicole is at now, other than
sorry
that,
for you, so sorry for
sorry.
you. I'm so sorry for you. I have a guest room here. You can always come back. You can always come.
Yeah. So other than these two states, most other states have gone into phase 2, 3, and Labuan in phase 4 actually. We're finally getting green light for this interstate and interdistrict travel.
Yes, our fast recovery is mainly due to the vaccination speed.
Oh,
Do you
yeah.
know what we have achieved? More than 75% full vaccination rate in Klang Valley. And as for the whole Malaysia, more than 53% are fully vaccinated.
Yay.
A huge leap from 20% in 30th of July in just less than 2 month times.
Wow.
Amazing.
Yes, amazing. It's very fast. And vaccine is certainly playing a huge role in the drop of our COVID cases in Malaysia. Last year, we were still unsure if we are getting the right vaccines anytime soon.
Yeah.
Yes, we are so miserable. Yeah.
And in going through this pandemic, everything becomes terrible. And the pandemic has brought massive disruption in all the industries throughout the world. But think about it. Can you imagine if COVID-19 struck us in 20 years ago? Things will be different.
Oh, no way.
I cannot imagine.
I cannot imagine it. That's definitely no way.
Yeah, I think definitely our global response would have been far less capable, right? What we have achieved today, with the vaccines and everything else, although it seems like it's taking forever, but this is all thanks to modern technologies. Let's just think about the working world. If this happened 20 years ago, there will be no Zoom. Even FaceTime didn't exist until 2010. And meetings from home with a group of people, what we are doing now, it would have been impossible for most of us.
Yeah, they were most probably correspondent with fax machine.
That's right.
Yeah, fax
Probably.
machines, right? And many things would be impossible as well, right? Even the production of vaccines, it wouldn't be so fast. And do you know that AI played an instrumental role in assessing the viability of different treatments? There are several medical companies, including Moderna, have been leveraging the power of AI and machine learning to speed up the research of both new drugs and vaccine candidates to treat COVID-19. Hundreds of companies in the worldwide are leveraging the power of machine learning to explore the new possibilities in an effort to reduce mortality rate and the long-term side effects of contracting the virus in our world.
Yeah, AI is definitely one of the most incredible technologies of our time. When we talk about AI, I think a major milestone in this field is, of course, people would think about AlphaGo, right?
Yeah.
When AlphaGo, it took on and defeated one of the world's top Go players, the legendary Lee Sedol in 2016.
Yeah, I remember it very well. He's been defeated, right? In an absolute point with 4-1, right? In Seoul, Korea.
Wow.
Yeah, that is really surprising. It's rocked the whole world.
Yes. In fact, AI has not only beaten human in games, it even creates significant impact to the art industry or even in legal industry.
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
For instance,
For
instance, yes, the company of Audioshape, they are using a sophisticated algorithm to help music makers mine the songs of the past and to create new material. And now they are using the AI technology to break the music down into its stems. And this is all about what? It's unmixing, you plug the music, and remixing, you mix it again of the music.
Wow.
Wow, it's like
Incredible.
breaking into small part of it,
Smaller
and then
parts,
mix
smaller
it up.
chunks.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
That's right.
Wow, wow, wow. On the other hand, so in my side here, in the United States, Amazon being an early adopter of artificial intelligence and automation, this company always had an edge in using AI to improve its business efficiencies. And not only has it been using AI to enhance its customer experience, but has been heavily focused internally as well. From using AI to predict the number of customers willing to buy a new product to running a cashless grocery store, Amazon's AI capabilities are designed to provide customized recommendations to its customers, provided you are affordable, right? Now, according to a report presently, Amazon's recommendations engine is driving 35% of its total sales.
Wow.
It's incredible. It's incredible. This
Yeah.
is a huge leap in the history of human being. Yeah.
Yeah. And I hope this kind of store will come to Malaysia.
Soon.
Soon.
I think very soon. Yeah.
I hope to. I hope
Can't
to.
wait for it. Yeah. Okay. Whereas in China, the Chineo is a completely AI-powered warehouse founded on flexible automation technology. It focuses heavily on automating its processes, striving to eventually deliver to anyone in China within 24 hours. And guess what, for international? In just 72 hours. Okay.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
yeah, the warehouse features 700 automated guided vehicles that pick up and deliver the parcels from different parts of the facility. These robotic vehicles have significantly reduced the processing time of the packages and also enable it to deliver a larger amount of goods in a shorter amount of time.
It's incredible what we have actually achieved, right? In the past few years, AI evolved into this powerful tool, and it enables machines to really think and act like humans. AI is really everywhere in technology. It's really the driving force.
Yeah, I wonder, will this AI will have the habits, bad habits like human beings? Just
Probably someday, because it's learning. Yes. So AI is used everywhere, right? It's used in identifying videos, videos with alcohol. Actually, this happened the other day when we were drinking to a friend with a friend who is currently based in China. We are
drinking with a friend,
Zoom. Yes.
Vivian,
okay, let me tell you what happened. No. Let me just say what happened. His drinking his bottle was actually censored live. This happened live. Yes. So AI is basically used in everything, in the invention of self-driving cars, rockets. More and more companies are trying to apply AI to solve problems and build AI strategy in their organization. And now what we can do is to maybe either choose to observe the trend, or we start planning our AI strategy to start creating an impact in this world. This world is now fully driven by technology. Yes. Right. And with that, let us continue to segment 2, Breaking Broadcast, where we have our invited guest of the day to tell us more about it.
Welcome to segment 2 of our Proppy podcast, Breaking Podcast, where we have our invited guest of the day to share with us about the topic of the day. In segment 1, we have talked about the AI that's leading the changes in the world today. And in this segment, let's talk about the technologies that we are expecting in present and also in future. Where are we heading towards?
Thank you, Nicole. Today we have Dr. Ronald T with us. Since young, he's been doing very well in his studies. He is EE Bachelor graduate, a Master of Science graduate, and a PhD in Wireless Communications Engineering. He is a JPA Scholar for his bachelor degree, ASEAN Scholar for his master degree, and a British Overseas Research Scheme Scholar for his PhD. He has more than 20 years of working experience in research, engineering, IT consulting, project management, data analytics, forensic investigation, litigation technology in foreign corporations and financial institutions. He's currently engaged in setting up analytic functions and driving the analytics strategy in the space of financial crime. Girls, most importantly, he is now living and working in Denmark and London. Now, if I could get his number, right, that would be the best part of it. Now, as the head of transaction monitoring analytics in a European bank.
Yeah, we
Hi,
definitely
Ronald.
have a genius with us today, Dr. Ronald. Hi.
Hi, Dr.
Hi,
Ronald.
Dr. Ronald.
Hi.
Thank you very much for the invitation, and it's a pleasure to be here to speak to three beautiful ladies in front of the camera.
It's our pleasure. Thank
so
you.
it's my honor, actually.
Thank you. So we are going to talk about the technologies, in the present and in the future. Maybe we can talk about this industry experts. They've stated that it is highly likely that China's generational leadership in 5G will soon be extended to 6G in year 2030, which is being called, I don't know, the wireless era, giving it a greater say in the telecom domain that could potentially reshape the global technological and economic gravity. Dr. Ronald, can I just ask, I don't know whether it's a stupid question, what is wireless era exactly? Aren't we already in wireless era? Everything is like wireless, Wi-Fi, what are your thoughts about this?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think certainly it's not a stupid question. I think it's a question that reflects our society, how our society evolved for the past many years, more and more dependent on the technology, on the onslaught of the advancement of technology. So certainly, if you look around, any devices that use, I think majority of them are actually of some kind of wireless connectivity. Looking at your phone, your laptop, wireless connection. And even looking at the car, some of the cars can have some kind of wireless GPS positioning. Yeah. So in that case, we are already way within the wireless era for the past many years. If you want to look at the perspective of how the wireless technology has evolved within the human history, we can basically categorize our wireless technology advancement based on the generation number. I think you're probably familiar with 3G, 4G, 5G.
Started with 3G.
Yeah, so exactly, that G stands for the generation. But if you go back all way back many years ago, I think probably around 1980s, it started with this first generation of mobile. So it is people start using it mobile communication, but on the analog domain. So it's not digitalized. They use the analog transmission. And then when you move to the second generation, which was probably 10 years later, and it was actually much pioneered by the European markets. So famously, I think European, the standard is called GSM. So they start to use the digital transmissions. So the quality is much better. I think the quality and also the speed is a little bit faster. I think then we move on to the 3G, which is around early 2000. And I have the opportunity in early 2000, I was offered an opportunity to work in a telecom company in Switzerland, Zurich. And I was also involved in, they are trying to bid this license to get the UMTS and 3G network to implement it.
3G was such a huge thing back then. I remember, when we talk about, I do. I think before 3G, it was H or G or just something like that, right? So when 3G came out, we were all very excited. The gadgets all changed, to new gadgets.
I think exactly is right. Why is the 3G causing such a big impact? Because people has a lot of anticipation. During the 3G area, a lot of companies are bidding for the license. In the European market, you have BT, Deutsche Telekom, big money pouring in just to secure the license, because the government or the regulator for the countries will issue a limited number of licenses for the mobile phone operator. And they actually bid in terms of hundreds of millions, or some even go to billion, just to get a license. And then 3G is such a big buzz term during that time, because we are looking into a digital economy. So people are talking about have a much faster speed of transmission. You are using more advanced processing in the devices. And the 3G network is something that people are looking forward. However, if you also remember early 2000, there's a dot-com bubble that crashed in the US. So the development, advancement of 3G come together with the downfall of dot-com. So that impact a little bit the delay of the deployment. But going forward, then after 3G, we move on to 4G, where the data transmission is a lot faster. I think we are talking about megabits per second. It used to be kilobits, now it's tens of megabits. And now 5G, we are talking about gigabit per second. Therefore, you can see the transformation is ensuring that you have a much faster bandwidth, able to more reliable in terms of the quality of services, and also low latency, and the network is able to support multiple users at the same time. And that leads to the discussion of why we are now in 5G contention between the US and China and Europe and so on.
And now they are already talking about 6G, whereas we are still in transition from 4G to 5G in our country.
Yeah, Dr. Ronald. Yeah, probably you can share us more about this. What can we expect from 6G, and what is the bottleneck that actually facing in this era of using 5G? I think this is your area of forte.
Yeah, it used to be in telecom, but now I'm not so much involved in the development. But in general, if you look at the generation involvement, you're talking about when the telecom, they want to come together to propose a new protocol, you need to have some kind of common language to speak to each other. That's why they come up with this 5G protocol, 6G. You need to have the same common standard. And alongside with that, you have to come up with the technology to support this communication channel. So 5G, in essence, we are, if you look at the advancement of a device, we are relying on a lot of the transmission, wireless transmission. You have a heavy, you are streaming high quality video, playing games. Next time automation will be, let's say, probably automated self-driving cars, and cars are talking to each other. Lots of information are passing through, and that information has to be quite time critical and of high quality. And also medical advancement as well. If you look at some documentary, you probably can see some kind of advanced, more experienced surgeon. They're operating some kind of complex surgery, but the patient itself is not physically located in the hospital. It's actually somewhere remote. And using a remote operation, they're able to control whichever operation happened in a remote place. And because you want to perform the remote operation, what you need to do is ensure there is a high transmission rate, very reliable
real-time transmission.
Exactly. So it's of critical importance. Why is a 5G is such an important thing? If you look at the geopolitical climate, the US want to be a 5G leader, but obviously they are not as strong as China now. China is the leader of 5G. That's why you look at the cases of Huawei and stuff like that. It creates a lot of geopolitical conflicts as well, because people want to get the big piece of pie in the advancement of the technology. So do I answer your questions? Or?
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
Very comprehensive. I have I don't know whether this is a tough question, that Dr. Arnold. So I would like to know that in our financial system today, we know that fintech companies, right, or we call it financial technology companies, they are using different kind of technology, such as the artificial intelligence, big data, robotic process automations, and even blockchain. So, and as you are the head of transaction monitoring analytics in Danske Bank, so I believe the audience would like to know more about the state of the art technology that used in the banking systems, as well as the functions of your division.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Certainly, the financial system, financial institutions are catching up with this advancement of the technology. One of the important points is you look at what kind of financial services products they are offering, right? They are offering products, more digitized products. They make high precision risk appetite, making sure that their bank is in a very good state to protect the customer. And all these decision points and also the marketing, they rely and more on the the technology that is available. So a few big changes that gradually happen will be, first of all, look at the data. There are more and more data that is collected for the customer, more and more transactions, more and more kind of information from KYC, from the product data, and so on. And this data plays a very important place because you use the data to make a decision. And that data will then be stored, and then gradually you have to implement some kind of decision mechanism. For example, people talk about the AI, machine learning. Those are the algorithm that is superimposed on the data. And in order for the algorithm to perform optimally, you also need to have a very strong processing power, a distributed network using a cloud computing, for example. So from the financial perspective, a lot of people are talking about big data, people talking about AI and machine learning, and also the storage is people talking about these cloud solutions. So we are moving towards alongside because there's also a lot of competition within the financial area, like fintech company, as well as the traditional bank. So big banks are leveraged on the technology. It's just that they are more highly regulated. So the pace might not be as fast as a smaller company, but definitely the digitalizations and the usage of the computing power certainly is of a high interest to the bank and the financial institutions.
Many experts comment that blockchain is the safest way to avoid frauds, money laundering, and promises. And they believe in the coming years, blockchain will spread exponentially to the financial industry. Do you agree with this, Dr. Ronald? And why? Does that mean blockchain is going to replace fintech in the financial industry?
Thanks for the question, Henriette. Certainly, I'm not the expert in blockchain. I think our founder, CC, is the expert in this area. So just touching the surface, because I think we have a much more expertise within the Proppy family can share on this topic. So from my view is, if you look at the blockchain, a lot of people think blockchain is crypto. Crypto is Bitcoin. They try to make that equivalent comparison.
Right, correct.
So maybe it's not an accurate comparison because Bitcoin, some people think it is some kind of opportunistic investment tools. I would say that Bitcoin is leveraging on the blockchain technology. So if you look at the blockchain technology as a whole, certainly it is, I would say, a groundbreaking transformation from our original paradigm of the architecture. So if you look at currently a lot of this transmission from the banking perspective, if you want to have a payment, you want to have cross-border payments, stuff like that, you want to keep some kind of repository, you have a central control nodes. You have someone who is performed like a supervisor, ensure that everything is done properly, and then you're relying on that regulated kind of a central control activities to perform this peripheral task. And blockchain, and then change the whole paradigm. Blockchain is basically a very distributed network connectivity. There's nobody in control. Everybody plays a part in distribution of the information. And then you need to have consensus. You need to broadcast some messages. So that kind of activities totally transform the current perception. And how can this be benefited for the financial institution is, I think financial institutions look at trade finance or cross-border payment or loans and stuff like that. Maybe let's take an example of trade finance. So trade finance, a lot of banks are providing this trade finance kind of services. So if you company A want to sell some toys to company B, company A is in China, company B is in US, and all these transactions have to go through. So they secure this letter of credit, and then the bank needs to provide that facility to ensure that you have a buyer and the supplier collectively agree, and then that transaction can take place, import, export can happen. So a lot of these are actually quite manual. You have some manual documents, or you have this processing of contract and stuff like that. Those are quite, I would say, time consuming, and some of these record is not being kept properly. So I can see how blockchain can play an quite an interesting role is you actually can use a blockchain technology to actually facilitate this transmission of information. You can create a digital contract. You can ensure that all this information is have a digital footprint. And that the information has an audit trail. You can easily track. You can easily do the KYC, know the clients. You can do a background check. You can ensure that the goods is flow through the process chain. And that technology is actually will make it much cheaper and faster for the bank to perform or to offer this product. So in my view, there is certainly a big piece of role that this blockchain technology can be utilized. The thing is, banks normally are highly regulated. Bank is very highly regulated. So to do any changes, they need to make sure they are compliant.
Yes.
They fulfill the regulatory commitment. Therefore, the advancement of that using that piece of technology is moving, but it's not leaping from one stage to the next, I would say.
Because the regulation is still a big issue now, right?
Yes, bank is highly regulated. Therefore, your money is safe in Maybank or whatever bank is put. You know that, government is protecting your deposit or your money or your mortgage.
I look at it in this way, like from what you were saying, Dr. Ronald. I'm not really familiar with this in blockchain as well as the the fintech in the financial industry as well. But from what I understand from you was that from the current financial system, the fintech in current financial industries, it involves a lot of third party, right, and documentation and regulations. But for blockchain, it's decentralized and it doesn't involve, it's based on consensus and it doesn't involve any third parties, right, at all. So is that going to say that in another way of saying that this is going to have a very, very time in the time of time consumed for a transaction to go through, that will definitely faster if we are going to use the blockchain, applied it into the financial system, is definitely faster than the fintech. Am I right?
I think I can dissect your questions into several aspects. So we can talk about the pros and the cons and the challenges.
Okay.
So what you're right is, yes, if you really fully use the blockchain technology, a lot of the cost will be saved. You pay less money. It's faster. Because now if you send the money, like Malaysian ringgit, you send someone in London, use British pound. Most likely, if you want to send a lot of money, you can do Hawala, which is a kind of informal way. You can do like a MoneyGram or Western Union. But if you want to do a big chunk of transaction, normally you go to bank, safer. And you always pay a transaction fees. Right? You pay the pay for whatever fees bank charge you, and also the exchange rate. And what happens is you send a bank will send this. Bank will probably have a connectivity of different correspondent banking in between. So they'll send the information to another bank send to another bank until it reaches the bank in London. Every single transaction, there's a message and there's a cost attached to the message. And that is one thing, you have cost attached to it. Secondly is you also need to append the information. The bank wants to know, okay, you send from this person. Are you sure that this person is good? Is not a criminal? Is there involvement in any money laundering risk or sanction risk or terrorist risk? So the bank is also having a hard time to double check all these compliance issue. Every single bank goes through different hops. So what blockchain can potentially help is if you have a digital footprint from the original to the sender, the ultimate sender, and the ultimate receiver. And every single hop, you attach some kind of digital footprint, and we are saying this amount of money from this bank, and then this go through this. So you have a digital ledger that is maintained, so people can trace it easily. And also blockchain, the cost is a lot more effective. So you pay probably less money, a lot less money to do that transactions. So that is a good thing. But the bad thing is, if you are using a blockchain, there is no centralized within the network. So there's nobody can actually control. So people can do some kind of suspicious activities around that. And bank is quite skeptical around that. They say that if I do not have full control, is the technology mature enough? I think these are highly regulated institutions, and there will be a lot of conversation with the regulator before this blockchain can be matured within the financial services sector. I hope that is.
Thank you, Dr. Ronald.
Yeah, thank you, Ronald.
No worries.
Sharing on this. It really broadened our view. Yeah.
Thanks. Learn from each other.
Yeah.
All right. So looking into current technology trend, we have heard about all this AI, the evolution of the big data. So can you please share with us more about all these future developments that you know?
Yeah, AI. What does AI actually mean? So basically, have you watched the Terminator, this movie Terminator by Arnold Schwarzenegger?
Yes, we love it.
Yeah, I'll be
Love
back.
it, love it.
Yeah. So what happened in the movie? Human was actually being monitored by the machine, and machine is thinking like a human being, even smarter. So try to imagine that situation, but at a less catastrophic scale, a more human-friendly scale. That is the AI. So let the machine do what it wants to.
So when people talk about the threat that AI would bring to humanity, in your opinion, it wouldn't really happen, or?
This is a good question.
Yeah.
Sorry, I just have to jump to that
about
question.
this.
No, that is currently. I think there is a potential. If the computer is advanced so much that they can actually think like human, even evolve better, faster than human. I always think there is a risk in the future. Because if the computer can think like human, smarter than human, do you think the computer want to be controlled by human? I don't know, but that is a futuristic question.
Yeah,
we haven't reached that stage yet. We haven't reached that stage. So AI, in another word, is using the processor, data, and algorithm to create a human person, to do automation, to do increase the efficiency, and to think what you want the AI to think. You want the AI to think like a machine, you will think like a machine. You want the AI to think like a human, you will think like a human. You want the AI to think like a dog, you can probably program in such a way, think like a dog. So what is the powerful of AI is it can actually model you. They can try to create your behavior and then think, okay, this is your spending habit, this is your hobby, this is where you like to travel, this is how you like to read your books, this is your preference for boys or girls or whatever. And they can emulate that situation, and then they say, okay, this is you, this is your profile. AI is able to duplicate, then they can say, okay, because you like to do this thing, I will propose to you that you should do this thing. And that is the power of AI. And of course, AI relies on data. There are more and more data available, and a huge amount of data. AI depends on the processing power. You need the processor to be able to cater for this complex calculation, and you need to have a good algorithm sitting on top of the processor. And so the advancement of technology is an enabler to actually enhance the AI evolution, because AI has already been invented 50 years ago. If you look at the published economic paper, 50 years ago. Yeah, people think about. Yeah, when people think about AI, is basically an algorithm based on probability. You have this information theory like entropy. It was published in 1950 something or 60 something, and they already come up with this. How do you want to calculate the probability of something happen? You want to calculate the contents of the information of bits and bytes, and that theory is already there. Then you have genetic algorithm, you got neural network, stuff like that. It's already published many years ago, but it was not fully utilized. Why? First, it's too computationally complex. The computer that time cannot cater. It's too slow. The computer to perform is too much for computer.
The infrastructures that's not ready yet for this.
Yes, infrastructure is not ready, and the data is not enough. There's not enough data to actually build a good AI, because not many people, provide that kind of feedback data. And now it's different, right? Everything is digitalized. Your data is being stored somewhere, and that enables AI involvement. So that's a big push in terms of AI and machine learning domain.
Well, what are the other top scientists I know are talking about now? Other than AI, you talk about big data.
Yes,
Yeah,
sure. There are many interesting projects happening. I'm not really close to all this involvement, but the big one that I'm aware of is, if you heard about quantum computing. So quantum computing will transform our whole world. It's not happening now, but China and US are competing in this space. So let me explain to you what is quantum computing.
yeah, please.
So if you're
super fast computer.
We can only introvert from the what the Google we can find just very fast. Super computer.
Super fast computer.
Let me explain.
That's how we know.
The very eye-opening principle. Imagine every single digital device now, if you go all the way to the core processing and the physical layer, is all interpreted by binary 1 or 0. The data is either 1 or 0, and the combination of data, you perform the operation using a transistor, and then you create some kind of powerful algorithm or powerful processing power. That currently, the state of transistor can give you an output of 1 or 0. And now, if you know the Intel's, the Moore's law, they say that I think the processing chips will get smaller by half the size every 2 years, or something like that. So they reduce the transistor that is sitting within the microchips every single 2 years. They reduce by half, reduce by half, reduce by half. And now we are reaching the bottleneck of physical reality. How small can a transistor be? Can you have a guess? How small can it be?
We can only see under the microscope.
How small?
How small?
Wow.
How small?
I'm thinking of the smallest unit that I can go.
Yeah.
So I
think
know,
about what's the smallest unit.
meter and cm and mm, micrometer. I don't know.
Yeah.
So how many? Less than that? Like smaller than that?
It has reached atomic size.
Wow.
Wow.
Almost, I don't know. It's tiny. It's like impossible to get smaller than that, because everything in this world, the smallest unit is an atom, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Atom, electron, proton. These are the smallest possible. You cannot break that barrier because physically it's impossible. So we are almost approaching the atomic size for transistor. So how can you reduce it further? You cannot reduce it further. It's not possible. It's already the smallest. So how do you have a more powerful computer when you reach the atomic size for your transistor, for your microchips? It's already smallest possible. And then this is the interesting of quantum computing coming. So they say, okay, don't worry. You got 1 and 0. Quantum computer is able to say it is not a 1 and it is not a 0. I have an inter-overlap state between 1 and 0. That means it creates a multiple possibility. So the current technology say it's either 1 or 0 based on the logic gate, but the quantum computing is able to manipulate the overlapping of 1 and 0, saying that there's a 1, there's a 0, but there's also in between. The probability
0.1 and 0.2.
Yeah, probably either closer to 1 or probably closer to 0. And they can create that kind of overlap, superimpose of binary 0 and 1. And because of the ability to compute the kind of multiple possibility of permutation, it will be a lot faster, because you don't need to worry about the size anymore. One small transistor can potentially do multiple rounds of information. That is the beauty of quantum computing. And that will be an interesting thing in the future.
All right. So
Go on.
please continue.
Yeah, please. How can it apply it into, apply into the application? I would say application in the machines.
How?
Yeah, how?
Yeah, currently it is still not. I think there's only 1 or 2 working prototype or working quantum computer. How it will happen is it can create a lot of sophisticated application. like encryption, for example. I would think a biology kind of genetic kind of, you want to make drugs, you can actually create a lot of different kind of or genetic combinations to find what is the best drugs you want to use.
Okay.
And these are highly complex currently. If you have quantum computer, you can do this a lot faster, a lot more efficient. So I'm talking about the future. I think next time, maybe you can cure cancer, you can cure Alzheimer, you can cure Parkinson's.
Just by removing the gene, the cancer gene, is it?
Just like creating a lot, using that kind of processing power to come up with the better medical compositions.
I see.
This is just an assumption, theoretical assumption. But if the technology is moving towards that, you will bring together with the biotechnology and medical field. It's blurring between the physics, medicals, and human psychology all combined together. I think that's the future for quantum. But on the other hand, we also think about how people think about technology this day. People think about, you want to have a better life, right?
Yeah.
And you also want your offspring or future generation to have similar lifestyle or even better than you.
Better, of course, it's
definitely.
Yeah.
Therefore, what do you want to think? You want to protect the planet. You don't want to use all the resources. You want to make sure the resource can be sustained. So now a lot of people are talking about sustainable economy, sustainable energy. Oil is going to finish, mineral is going to finish one day, and oil is polluting, pollution is going to destroy, animals are extinct. So we want to create a sustainable energy or sustainable economy, environment for people to live in. And that's where the sustainable kind of a technology that come into play. Like the wind energy, solar energy, and bioenergy and stuff like that. And try to have a much better carbon dioxide control, carbon trading. So all these technology is an enabler to make sure that we probably in 10 years time we will have no more petrol car, petrol diesel cars.
Resources are gone.
Yeah. And can you imagine KL no car that can emit carbon dioxide? Or driving electric car.
That would be nice.
Very nice.
This is so idealistic.
But producing that electric would need sustainable sources as well.
Correct. Right. Currently, they use battery, lithium-ion battery, which is, I think, quite highly pollutant, difficult to dispose.
Yeah.
And there's a limited capacity. So that's also an investment. That's why Tesla is so advanced, right? You look at the Tesla actually, the market capitalization of Tesla is a lot higher than, I think, Toyota, Volkswagen. But you look at the production of Tesla, is actually quite small. How many cars they produce? How can they compare to Toyota? No way. But Tesla is positioned themselves as not the car. It's a technology company, not really a car company. Because they developed the technology for auto driving, for battery, produce this mass automation. That's why Tesla share price can go so high, because I think it's categorized as like a technology company, rather than a traditional
sustainable, and it's sustainable technology.
They are using solar energy, right? Not mistaken.
No, currently they are using their own. They have a lot of research on their battery. So they have their own battery factory, gigawatt factories. And they are using the battery that I think can last for 10 years. You can, after that you throw away, you need to put in a new battery. But the battery life can last very long. Right? Just one charge, you can drive from KL to Penang, I think. No need to recharge.
Is this where you think the world is heading towards green economy or sustainable energy? What are the challenges for us to really move on from current state, from this generation of technology?
From this generation, I believe we are at a transition. I think the challenges is if every time there is a disruptive technology, there's a transformation. I want to bring you back to this industrial revolution. Used to be China and India are the biggest country in the world. They are like the America. GDP number 1 or 2 for many, many hundreds years. And what happened in, I think, 18th century? What happened? This British invented steam engine. They have a coal to power the steam engine. They transformed the agriculture to this mechanization era. So everything become mass production effective. That's why the British GDP economy go up the roof. And that's the first industrial revolution. China didn't follow the trend. So China was actually, I think that's Qing dynasty, Qing Chao.
China was still in the war, in internal war.
Yes, right? they are very enclosed. They do not want to take in that involvement. So they left behind. That's the first revolution. Second industrial revolution, you're talking about Thomas Edison, invented electricity, the light bulb, the electricity. Then you have automobile, you got a plane. So that also a disruption. So I think probably the American and the European were also the pioneer. And the third that happened maybe 30 years ago, you got computer, you got internet, you have all these robotic stuff. It's also driven by the West. Why is all these three revolution all driven by the Western economy, the US or the European? So now I think China is stepping up.
So it's always it's actually always about the technology advancement.
And not forget about the era of enlightenment in Europe.
Correct.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So there's a whole transformation here, and now I think Asia is catching up. We as a normal person, we are also catching up. We are in the transition where we actually experience a lot of enrichment of our life in technology. You know that your life is probably better than Qin Shi Huang 2000 years ago.
I think so too.
We are living probably a much better life than Qin Shi Huang. Imagine Qin Shi Huang from Xi'an, go to wherever place.
Oh my goodness.
To area, to on a very bumpy road. And it takes, I don't know, a few months to get around China. For me, I want to go to UK to KL. I just buy a ticket, 12 hours. If I'm rich enough, I get myself a business class. Sit comfortably. So is my life better than Qin Shi Huang? I think our lives are better.
Definitely.
So that technology advancement is something that we're enjoying. So how can we ride the ride? We just need to follow the advancement. You need to upskill yourself, right? You always upskill yourself, make sure that you are on top of the trend. If this is a trend people know, you want to enrich your knowledge, you want to enrich your experience, and that's how you can get the fruition of the technology advancement. So I think we are all in the phase and we all can enjoy the benefit together.
That's everything. It's everything in our life, actually. We are using it every day.
That is very interesting. I'm glad that now I'm living in the modern era, that I have my own nice toilet to use. Unlike Qin Shi Huang.
Yes. You can watch Netflix, right?
Yes.
Any food you want globally. So
sending to door. Yeah.
We are very fortunate indeed. Yes.
Definitely.
Going further, so Dr. Ronald, in your opinion, the world is heading to an intelligence-based solution systems, green economy, and also data, right? So how does this relate to us as an individual? What can we expect in our future daily life? Like, for example, our legal and our legitimate systems, right? And our education systems, can you share with our banking?
I think it will affect every single parts of our life, from your hobbies, your education, from your activities, from your job. All these are compiled together because you have more choices. You have the enabler, which is the technology. During the COVID time, you still can have the university, right? Vivian, you still can do your master degree because there's no even the school is
I'm
not
having
open,
fun studying at home.
Internet connection.
And doing Proppy at the same time, hosting, time. Yes.
Exactly. And this also leads to why we are here. We are talking about Proppy. Proppy, do you think Proppy is just like a property kind of app? Buyer and seller?
Yes. How do you look at Proppy? Share us more. How do you look at Proppy?
Sure. Proppy is, I think the vision of Proppy is not just a Web 2.0 kind of thing. Web 2.0 means that you can give an input, you get an output, someone give the details, you use the information. It's more like a two-dimensional kind of technology. But if you think this is a technology Proppy is moving towards, then you're probably in the wrong step, because if you have that technology only, do you think potentially this vision can be so high? We are moving towards the billion kind of targets. It's not possible. So if you listen to, I think, Dr. Max and CC talk, it's actually an ecosystem. Right? You're creating an ecosystem. You're creating an environment that is providing the enabler for all the activities within our life. You want to sell property, you use the data, you use the algorithm, help you to sell the property. The information you use potentially can be used for other things. You know, looking for something else, buying something, creating a profile to mimic your interests, looking for your business partners, for example. So this is an ecosystem that you can use in the future, maybe even to the financial aspects. You can do some kind of payment. You can find things that you want to do, create some kind of profile that people can do things together. You can create a community, can have the same similar shared interest. You can look at shoppings. You can look at many things. Therefore, the ecosystem is a holistic kind of perspective for Proppy. And among all these holistic view of the system, what is the enabler? The enabler will be the data. You need to have the data to make that decision. So it's focusing on data. It's also focusing on the algorithm you use. How you have the data, how you want to make full use of data. You put on top of an intelligence-based kind of a solution maker that make decision. And that is the intelligent kind of architecture sitting on top of the data. And how do you make sure that this intelligence can operate? You need a high processing power. So I'm talking about cloud computing. So all these are all interconnected to enable us to create an ecosystem. I think that is the vision of Proppy. I believe that's why all of you are still here in the middle of the night.
I think this is definitely
passionate.
It's really mind blowing. Now that you are talking about it, it seems like everything is ready. Everything is ready. The platform, the infrastructure, the speed, wireless era that we're in.
Where that we're heading through.
True.
Yes. We are all in a very exciting era.
So make sure we can have the enough life, enough long life to reach that.
Long life, work life, and enjoy what you like to do. Eat nice food.
All right. Okay, thank you, Dr. Ronald, for sharing with us today. It is
my pleasure.
So this message in the bottle series is brought to you by ProppyApp. Please like, share, and download ProppyApp, a property-based all-in-one portal, including all home-related peripheral services. ProppyApp, where dreams come home. And let's go to our segment 3.
Welcome to segment 3, Clubhouse Chaos, where we usually answer some questions and talk about something more casual and relaxed.
Yeah, let's have some fun today. Let's talk about the evolution of technologies, okay? We have actually 3 technologies chosen by our production team, okay? Let's talk about this. If you have gone through this era, some of it. Okay, first of all, you know what this is, right?
This, I'm very sure I'm not in this era, okay?
So I'm giving, okay, that's true.
I know this only from my history book, okay?
Our history book, our history textbook, right? Yeah, the first thing we learn about trading. So this is, me giving you a piece of meat and then receiving a fish instead. Okay, so this is the barter system. Maybe can you let's talk about how this has actually gone through the process of evolution. And what is it like today? So after system barter, there's actually some problem, right? Yeah, of course. But it's just a discussion. Barter system, there's a lot of problem.
Barter system is you exchange something to the other with another things, so that you get the things that you want and you have something to trade in. Then the problem is, how do you make sure that this things are actually of equivalent value.
Yeah.
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 A fish, maybe a tuna fish, is a lot more valuable than this ham. You probably your fish is a lot bigger. And how do you want to make sure? And can you keep the fish fresh for many days?
Cannot. Yeah. Fresh produce will be a problem. And then that's why we switch to the next thing. What comes after the barter system?
Is it the meta money?
Yeah. Can you remember from our history textbook?
Is it the meta money?
Yeah. I think it was the Wang Siput. The shells. Is it? Yeah, the shells.
Yeah, I think depends on the geography. Depends on the places where you are based. Some countries shell is more valuable. Some countries their metal more valuable. They probably use more valuable things in exchange of another things, so that the other person can use the same valuable stuff in exchange with any other stuff.
But that also create a lot of problems as well. What make it? How do you determine the value of a shell?
Yeah,
big
that's true.
Or small, or the colorful one.
That's when the metal money comes in, but then we are actually no longer using metal money as well. Metal money is like the real gold, is it? The real gold, and also our shillings, gold, silver, and the shillings as well. But now we are no longer really using shillings, not even paper money, right?
And it's heavy.
Yeah,
very
true.
Heavy.
Metal money is heavy, and then with we've gone on to the paper money, and after paper money, we are also no longer really using paper money, especially like countries in China, like China. Like our friend told us that they, he's actually he hasn't really bring out his purse. He's saying that for
how many years?
How many years? He's only using his phone, so it's been digitalized, I guess.
Yeah.
But how is it in Europe? In Denmark, country like the place that you stay, Dr. Arno?
Yeah, I think Scandinavian countries are very digital economy. I also never used paper for many years. People use card primarily.
The plastic money.
Yes, the plastic money, or they use the mobile pay, right? Like Apple Pay. So yes, paper money is no longer I would say a main tools these days, at least in Europe or Northern Europe. I think this is because it's much more convenient. You don't need to bring a big part of things, and now there's a lot of devices that enable these transactions to happen. Mobile devices, you got this terminal you can pay.
The digital money.
Scan, yes. That's why technology is enabling the convenience for us to use the digital channel to do the transaction.
And probably we are moving towards the cryptocurrency soon. We don't know that.
We don't know. Maybe the future.
Bitcoin. This is
currently cryptocurrency. They are not much used in the transaction space, but they are more on the investment. People buy this because they are hoping the value will go up, but they are not actually using Bitcoin to pay for the fish, right? Nobody uses Bitcoin. So they keep it as like a investment tools because there is a huge potential for the value to go up. So in terms of using a day-to-day transaction for cryptocurrency, I think there's still a lot of room for improvement.
Yeah, definitely. Interesting.
In the meantime, if you're aware, I think Chinese government has recently come out with this digital yuan. Or electronics yuan. So it's not a cryptocurrency. It is not like a Alibaba you need to tie to your account. It is actually a digital currency that you can put in a phone. You got a wallet, you got some kind of digital signature, and you can do the payment offline.
Right.
And it is also centrally regulated because it is the renminbi currency. So digital currency, I think, is also another future evolvement for our financial system and ecosystem.
The closest future would be the digital. Interesting. Okay, let's take a look at the second one.
Sure.
Okay, I think all of us have
What's
gone
this
through
called? I
this
can't
era,
remember.
okay?
I can't remember what this thing called.
What is it
It
called?
was like so.
Oh,
Like so long
1.44.
ago.
Yeah,
1.44.
1.44.
Yeah, it's a floppy disk.
Okay.
Yes, so this is actually the evolution of memory storage.
Oh,
Yes.
okay.
Yeah. So
Just
where do you store
1.44
your 1.44 MB is like it's less than one of our pictures, you know.
Just few
Right.
documents.
Yeah. We use this in our school last time, you know, to save our documents. Yeah. So after floppy disk, what happened? What comes after that? Do you remember?
CD. We burnt the CD.
Well, you're so
Yeah,
clever,
yeah.
Nicole.
Correct.
Tonight.
Yes, so clever.
It's all
CD
about
comes
history.
after
Following
that.
the trend.
CD, DVD, and then a Malaysian actually invented something, you know, a world renowned.
USB.
Yes, the USB drive.
USB drive.
Yeah, which is still, you know, being used today. USB drive, hard disk. But today we don't exactly store our data or our photos or videos in USB or hard disk, right? Where do you store yours? Like
Let me have it. Let me have it. Cloud.
Right?
Yes.
Cloud.
Yes. Right. Mm-mm.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's all cloud based.
So you're all very technology savvy, yeah? Up to the
Yes.
trend.
No, I'm trying
It's not
to.
even in the future. This is the present. Huh?
Yeah, this is present.
Mm-mm.
You know,
It's
we
good
girls
enough.
have that so many photos, you know, to install, and then I'm now trying to register on InCloud with the second account.
Yeah.
Ah, that's good.
Okay.
get
Yeah.
more
I'm
storage.
actually paying for my storage.
Oh,
So you have exceeded the free
Yes.
quota.
A long time ago. Yeah, this is an interesting evolvement because it happens in very short time actually. Because we have all seen this what.
how much
So
you were
you-
paying, sis? How much you were paying for that, for the extra storage?
Actually, I can't really remember. I just pay with the credit card every month.
Monthly subscription.
It's the
Yeah,
same as
Google Drive. I have Google Drive.
you see, that's also another question about using a credit card. No, we can't really count it. You know, counting.
We
how
can
much-
lah. It's okay. It's very
How much do we-
individual. Yeah,
Please,
it's
no
personal.
count your
You know,
bill.
Yeah,
Just
it's just
tell
me.
me.
It's just me. Sorry.
But we can only count. We can only know that. Oh no! When the time we receive the statement by the end of the month.
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably these are small money to you, right? There's no need to count.
Yes.
There's no
Yeah.
need to take notice.
Yeah, you actually get invoice every month. I just don't really look at that. Not every month. I think it's a yearly invoice. Yeah. Okay.
Perhaps it's not significant enough for you to realize.
Not really lah, because I really need the storage.
Okay. Then I think I will go explore.
Yeah. You should. The next one, Okay, do you know what this
Oh.
is? It's a room full of
Oh, this was like
stuff,
this is like
buttons.
a machine.
Looks like a Star Trek movie.
Yeah.
Yes, a very old-fashioned.
Yes. Okay, so this is a very, very old computer. It's not even the first computer, is it, Dr. Ronald?
No, it's not the first computer. The first computer was invented by Alan Turing during Second World War.
Oh, wow.
That device, he was trying to crack the German U-boat submarine transmission.
Oh.
That was, I think, 1940. So you're talking about 70, 80 years ago.
Wow. So that computer, is it like bigger than this room?
Much bigger.
Oh,
I think it's the whole building.
Actually, the personal computer, it started with Apple, right? Personal
computer, I think it started maybe not from Apple. I can't remember, but there's many, probably a few players. I think the first generation of computer probably very similar to the typewriter.
Oh.
So the function is will be a typewriter. There's so much of processing. Apple come out with this. I think they try to make it more graphically interesting, more user friendly. And then you have this DOS, like Microsoft DOS. In the other hand, is programming quite difficult to use. So from then it started to become more and more user friendly. So yeah, that's just Nowadays, it's just a mobile phone, right? Your mobile phone is a lot more powerful than
tablets.
Because as I understand, Macintosh was never been, the segmented market was never been the retail buyer. It was for the lab research, more to like lab and research.
So nowadays, it's not even laptop, especially like in the education line. During this time of the pandemic, the students some of the students, the younger students they don't even have laptops or even tablets. They are using just their phones. Maybe tablets. Because it's much easier, actually, much more user friendly than the laptops as well.
Yes.
Correct.
Correct. Interesting. So that's all for our segment 3 today.
This message in the Bottle series brought to you by ProppyApp. Please like, share and download ProppyApp, a property-based all-in-one portal, including all home-related peripheral services. ProppyApp, where dreams come home. I'm Nicole Ng.
And I'm Harriet Khoo.
I'm Vivian Chong. Thanks for watching and listening to us. We'll see you next week. Thank you, Dr. Ronald.
Thank you. Bye. Thank you, Dr. Ronald. Bye.
Thank you.